Hi, my name is Gunnar. I'm a game developer and a software engineer, and today I'd like to talk about the incredible world of machine learning, a cool person named Janelle Shane, as well as a personal project of mine known as Concurrency. Machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence within computer science. The idea behind it is to allow computer programs to artificially learn instead of being explicitly programmed, usually by using statistical techniques over datasets. Normally, a computer program has to be explicitly told via a programming language, an intermediary between comprehensible human language and binary machine language, exactly what it's supposed to do. This very moment, you're watching this video due to a complex architecture of software written in C, C++, Java, Python, PHP, and Go on Google's backend YouTube servers, and JavaScript running on your computer right now, as information stored as binary ones and zeros is streamed across the planet. These ones and zeros represent colors and the awful sound of my voice, which is translated into actual tangible colored lights and specific air vibrations by explicitly designed programs on your computer device, whether that's a PC, TV, phone, tablet, PS4, whatever. The software, written by people at Google, knows exactly how to turn packets of ones and zeros into the sound of my voice, as those software developers at Google told it how to. The same is true for running your favorite video game, or Facebook, or Twitter, or your blog, or your calculator, or your less than appropriate content. Some software engineer out there in the world told your computer device exactly how to do that thing. Machine learning is a little different. Instead of explicitly instructing a computer to do a specific thing, like math or rendering Roadhog's belly button, machine learning is the science of instructing a computer to learn. Machine learning is virtually everywhere nowadays. Your Google search results, your Netflix recommendations, your YouTube feed, your Facebook feed. These are all such big tasks that software companies are providing to you, often for free, and they are specifically tailored to you. They do this by automating the process, by teaching computers how to figure out what you might like, and constantly improving this automatically based on your interactions with the service. Artificial neural networks, or connectionist systems, usually just known as neural networks or neural nets, are a type of machine learning. They're algorithms inspired by biological neural networks, the system of neurons and synapses in your brain that allow you to think or perceive my words or do pretty much anything. Your biological neural circuit is what gives you the capacity to learn. Doing the same with computers is one of the major forefronts of technology right now, and it's really, really fun. One of my favorite people when it comes to the fun of neural networks is Janelle Shane. Janelle is a research scientist currently working in optics, but she also runs a blog called AI Weirdness, where she compiles fantastic lists on content procedurally generated by neural networks that she trains. These vary from automatically generating new D&D spell names, Pokemon, Christmas carols, cat names, to candy hearts and Wikipedia articles. The way this works is that Janelle takes a neural network and feeds it a massive list of something to read. Say the 1,500 plus pony names in the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic wiki. The neural network processes all these pony names, from Twilight Sparkle and Rainbow Dash to Groucho Mark and Buzzard Hooffield, and then tries to make up brand new pony names that would fit into that same list, often to mixed results, giving us the likes of Star Blueberry, Amethyst Mist, Scarline, Sanderlash, Sunsrot, Freesing Fail, Flirtershy, Pinky Swole, Butterflash, Groan, and Raspberry Turd. One of my favorites is her list of auto-generated Dungeons & Dragons creatures, which she made by feeding a recurrent neural network the 2,205 creatures from the 2nd edition D&D Monster Manual. This list is important to me because I actually used it for a personal project of mine known as Concurrency. The reason I started making this video is because a friend of mine recommended I tell Janelle Shane that I did this, and making a complex public video essay seemed a lot easier than direct messaging her as a total stranger to awkwardly say that I used her creations for a project. I generally find it easier to shout one-sidedly into the void or speak impersonally to a large group than to talk one-on-one with someone, particularly someone I admire. Concurrency is a fantasy fiction novel I'm writing, and hope to refine into something I can properly publish. Concurrency is, on its surface, a fairly traditional high fantasy YA epic coming-of-age action adventure, with a plethora of monsters and magic and Tolkien derivative-esque fantasy races. though it also deals with more modern subjects not typically seen in fantasy, such as LGBT people, addiction, and mental health, with elements of survival, horror, and metafiction. And that metafiction element is the true heart of Concurrency to me. While it is a high fantasy adventure on its surface, not so secretly, the novel and universe is really a piece of speculative science fiction wrapped up as fantasy. It's not about some zany post-apocalyptic sci-fi world where orcs and elves and magic pop into existence after we nuke each other. Not to diss those types of stories. I absolutely love Adventure Time, and similar works can be wonderful. But Concurrency is rather about computer science and game development, my passions. The fantasy world that the main story takes place in is just a simulation, where a hypothetical future developer is creating a complex 3D world with artificial intelligence and mostly realistic physics simulations and genetic programming imitating biological evolution, etc. It allows me to draw on my strengths, write what you know and all that, where I can bake various computer science, game engine architecture, and game development jokes into the fabric of the world, as well as deconstruct and subvert traditional fantasy tropes. And it isn't Westworld. It's not about the first person or corporation to invent sentient artificial intelligence and horrific violence and existentialist philosophy. It's about someone like Janelle Shane, who is plenty intelligent and skilled and qualified, but they're doing this for fun, with pre-existing libraries as a hobby. Most everything Janelle creates for her blog she did not program herself from scratch. Like most any developer, she used open source libraries like TextGenRNN by Max Wolf, or CharNNN by Andrej Karpathy, or TensorFlow CharNNN by Chen Liang. These resources are free and relatively easy to use. Anyone with the dedication can create such works. The same is true in game development. There's been a massive democratization of game development over the last 10-20 years. Traditionally, professional game development has been one of the most difficult fields in software development. And that's still true of large AAA games like Overwatch, which are made in custom game engines and are optimized to run highly complex 3D graphics, physics, and audio, connecting to people across all variety of devices all over the world for real-time network gameplay at 60 frames per second graphically, and 44.1 thousand frames per second auditorially. These types of games and custom engines take years and tens of millions of dollars and massive teams of extremely skilled engineers, programmers, artists, riggers, animators, sound designers, game designers, composers, producers, business developers, writers, QA testers, etc. to create. However, with the advent of powerful free game engines like Unity, Unreal, Godot, CryEngine, Hero Engine, Shiva Engine, Monogame, GameMaker Studio, Marmalade SDK, Source 2, App Game Kit, Coco Studio, etc., game making is kind of for everyone. Nowadays, it's really, really, really easy to make even a professional game, often for free in terms of technology. 3D graphics rasterization, networking, game engine architecture, the kind of stuff I love, is really hard and a pain in the butt to do from scratch. Not so long ago, you had to know how to do that or have a teammate who could, but now you can just click and download Unity and they'll do all the hard stuff for you. Amazon Lumberyard, Amazon's up-and-coming game engine to compete with Unity and Unreal, is very focused on one-click integration with Twitch and networking through Amazon Web Services. Networking, one of the most maligned aspects of game development for years, is now becoming a trivial one-click implementation the library just does for you. As machine learning, deep learning, and neural networks progress, as they are rapidly, I foresee similar implementations becoming trivial and commonplace. We already basically have one-click implementation of simple neural nets. Extrapolate that to 30, 50, 100, 200 years, imagine where we'll be at. That's the world behind Concurrency. Some not-so-far-off future where the advent of personal quantum supercomputers or some other astounding technology, and the natural progression of machine learning and artificial intelligence allows any old hobbyist to create entire worlds. One-click implementation of human-like artificial intelligence, download the plugin for a realistic chemistry engine, toss in an evolution simulator, a tide manager, physics sim, hair growth modeling, and computational fluid dynamics, real-time ray tracing, all pretty trivial to implement, mostly just built into the free engine. In terms of me as a wannabe author actually writing this piece of fiction, well, I have horrible world builder's disease, and have already written several books over in terms of word count just describing the fake fantasy world of Concurrency and its many peoples, religions, continents, cuisines, fashions, technologies, geographies, histories, languages, idioms, historical figures, gender roles, cultures, wars, nations, and cities and tribes, and even the ecologies of their flora and fauna. I especially enjoy inventing the biologies of animals, ranging from the realistic to the fantastic, with many drawing from worldwide mythologies, and many being references to other fantasy worlds in video games, etc. And this is where Janelle Shane's neural net-generated D&D creatures live, buried in the complex ecosystems of my fake universe, particularly in the zanier areas, as I don't think I could make a subplot around a stray desert beeple within the first 100 pages. I just don't have the writing chops to pull that off. These inclusions are of course direct allusions to Janelle's work, and a tongue-in-cheek in-joke from myself, as the simulated world and its wildlife is mostly procedurally generated by neural nets in-universe. Like No Man's Sky, but not so raspberry turd. Imagine a world where some cool, interested person like Janelle Shane can just invent a planet and evolving societies of AI people for fun and scientific interest. Well, you don't have to. I've already imagined it for you, and have written most of a book about it. I really don't think it's all that far-fetched, just based on history in the present. I believe, eventually, assuming we don't all die from a meteor or Skynet or super nukes, that this sort of thing will happen. I think it'll be a hobby to make little simulated AI people in their world. And there'll be a big fuss about it and the ethics of it, but eventually everyone will chill and people will just accept it. Just another weird, fun thing for people on the internet to write blogs about. Concurrency is literally about a developer with a blog, just making a simulated fantasy world of intelligent, evolving people instead of auto-generated Eminem lyrics. It's a very slow burn to that, and the focus really is on the fantasy AI NPCs and their lives. Because, in that scenario, why are their lives any less meaningful? If an artificial intelligence is indistinguishable from a human intelligence, are their perceptions no less fascinating? If we discovered tomorrow that the world is objectively and definitively a hologram, and that all of our lives and everyone that has ever lived is all just a big simulation by some higher developer, would that suddenly invalidate how interesting your life is? Would that make the lives of Martin Luther King Jr., or Helen Keller, or Mahatma Gandhi, or Amelia Earhart, or Benjamin Franklin, or Joan of Arc, or even Adolf Hitler any less interesting, important, and compelling? Would it make them meaningless? I don't think so. I know that's a strange point to end on after talking about Pinky Soul, the auto-generated My Little Pony, and fantasy creatures and blogs and all that, but that's honestly what I think about when I read blog posts and articles by people like Janelle Shane. It makes me think about where technology and thusly society will go in the future. It excites me and inspires me, and I want to thank Janelle Shane for being such an awesome person and doing such cool stuff. My original intent with this video was to detail my written interpretations of every auto-generated D&D creature name I used from Janelle's AI Weirdness blog post. However, I feel like that would be very dry, weird, and confusing without the greater context of the world building, and quickly become uninteresting. If enough people want me to do that, then I suppose I will, but for now, that's all I have to say on the matter. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble. You're very sweet, and I really appreciate it. If you'd like to hear me ramble again sometime, let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, which I assume you did if you're still listening this far, and you have a half second, I would really appreciate it if you could click like for me. I know it's a small, seemingly meaningless action, but it genuinely helps me out and would mean a hell of a lot to me. And similarly, I would be immensely grateful if you hit subscribe. It's a split second to do and completely free to you, not really a commitment or risk on your part, but again, it would really help me out and completely make my day. If you don't want to, of course, no worries at all, you don't owe me anything, but I thought I'd mention it. I hope you have an awesome rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, night, or existence if you're watching this in the far future where humanity has evolved past such primitive conceptions of time. You are brilliant and I appreciate you. Goodbye.